taken it. I don't think I could have taken it. Listen, if you please. Hannah, we have chosen as our model mother today, was one of those mothers who desired to be a mother. You know, we've become so modern today until it's a little old-fashioned to have children. In this society that Hannah lived, it was an honorable thing to have children. And every mother or every woman looked forward with desire and with respect toward the state of motherhood. She wanted a mother. The woman today who has more than one child or more than two children is very often the object of criticism and sometimes downright scorn. Say, honey, you know, she having too many children, she losing her shape. I'm using these terms to impress it upon your mind that these expressions are indicative of a deeper attitude and of an attitude toward family life that's undergoing basic changes. You see, there is immortality in your offspring. The immortality of the family, the constancy of the family was so important in Eastern and Oriental society that the idea of carrying on the family name and the family tradition was so important that if one brother died without having or bringing forth children to carry on his name, if he had other brothers, the next oldest brother must follow him into wedlock with the wife that he left behind in order that the family name would go on. It was so important. But today we have changed our attitude. Hannah, the model mother, had a desire for motherhood. And not only a desire, but prayed to God to bless her with the state of motherhood, to bestow upon her motherhood. It was customary that the petitions of the parishioners of the priest would take their petitions to the priest and tell him what their desires were. But Hannah deviated from the traditional approach and went up and prayed for herself. She didn't leave it to the priest. She went personally to God for what she wanted. And certainly, those of us who live in the Christian era believe in what Hannah did. For we believe in a personal approach to God. I don't believe you know what I'm talking about. We believe in going to God for ourselves. And I think every mother ought to be a praying mother. Not only look upon the state of motherhood with respect and view it honorably, but I think every mother ought to be a praying mother. It would be a wonderful thing in your home for your children to hear you pray sometime. You don't know the potency. You you don't know the extent of the influence that it would have upon your child's life in his formative years for that child to hear you pray sometime. I never shall forget that when I was a child, that frequently I heard my mother pray. And the thing that impressed me most was that occasionally at night, I have been awakened out of my sleep with tears from her eyes dropping in my face, saying, Lord, help me to rear my children. Help me to rear them as God-fearing children. And listen, to hear her telling God that for me, to hear her say, Lord, help me to rear them, and then help me to rear them as God-fearing children. Help me to keep them in a path that will give God glory. Went a long ways in my mind and toward influencing my disposition. You ought to let your children hear you talk to God for them sometime. Mother. Not only did she have an esteemed respect for the state of motherhood, but she was a praying mother. Pray with me if you please. And then thirdly, and I'm going to be just about through when I say this. Thirdly, she rededicated her children to God. Can I tell you a bit more that's personal and has to do with my own experience? Of course, the approach would probably be criticized today, but when I was a boy, my mother used to, on Sunday mornings, I didn't have any shoes to wear to Sunday school. She'd have me to grease my legs and walk proudly to the Sunday school. And you know, the Sunday school provided those little cards with pictures on them for the children. And she would take my sister and I over these cards several times. Read it, she would say. Or she'd read it for us and have us following her, reading it to us. And then after she'd gone over it several times with us, then she'd hand it to us and reach back and get a strap and say, now you read it. You know, that gives you pretty good encouragement to read, doesn't it? All right, all right. Aside from that, I recall another thing. These things live with you. I remember one night in the graduation of the year, I guess from about 5th or 6th grade, my sister and I were on program to speak. And of course the kids were rather noisy, and I was rather afraid to stand up before an audience and speak. And this particular night, I stood up to speak, but I spoke so low that very few people heard me. When I finished speaking, I cast my eye around at my mother, and she looked at me a certain way, and I knew that I was in for it. She said, when she got home that night, the next time, when I get through with you, the next time you get up on the stage to speak, you are going to speak. And believe it or not, I've been speaking ever since then. And I mean, speaking where folk could hear me. Now, this is not an approach that child psychology would recommend in the upbringing of children. But I want to tell you, it certainly was an effective approach so far as I was concerned. And it certainly has done some positive things for me. Some positive things. Some things that have serviced me and have helped me through my life in the years that I have lived. So I'm trying to say to you, my brothers and my sisters, I think it is necessary that we rethink about the problem of bringing up our children. And that we would re-examine ourselves on shouldering the responsibilities that are imposed upon parents. And certainly mother has her place in this scheme of things. For you see, we are largely responsible for our children. We are largely responsible. The Lord gave them to us. And the Lord is counting on us to bring them up, to live that abundant life, and to make the world a better place in which to live. As you look at a baby crying in its mother's arms, as you look at that little span of humanity, the eye, the physical eye, cannot analyze the possibilities that's within that child. The physical eye cannot see all the things that he is capable of doing, and what he will do, and what contribution he will make to world order and to human adjustment, as to what contribution he will make into making the world population a brotherhood and making world society the kingdom of God. Depends largely on mother as well as on father. My brothers and sisters, this is no small task. This is no small task. And this is no day and age when we should shun the responsibility imposed upon us as mothers and fathers. These are your children, and God gave them to you. I never shall forget that before I moved to this city, when I first took over the pastorate of this church, there were 3 little boys who were left at home one night alone. And I believe, if my memory served me right, they were left in a room where an old coal stove was to keep them warm. And about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning, the house caught a fire, and the little children were suffocated. All 3 of them, before any help could reach them. And they had to go to the tavern somewhere at that hour in the morning and find that mother and tell her that her children were dead. Well, you see, this we could not say was the ideal mother. Pray with me if you please. I believe the little boys were about, 3, 4, and 5. Something around that age. Subject to wake up any time of night. Somebody to need any kind of aid or any kind of help.